Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited because today's guest is Dr. Heather Tucker, and we're going to be talking about something that is hitting me personally during this time that we're living in, and that is all about healing and restoration. And before we get into our conversation with Heather, Dr. Heather Tucker, let me tell you just a little bit about her. Dr. Heather Tucker was making six figures in her dream job when she realized that the pressure, lack of recognition and support, and disruption of family engagement had turned her into somebody who she didn't even know. That's when she said, "Halt, stop." And she redesigned her life around who she really is. And the life harmony that she found in her own life is what she teaches others. So what we're going to be discussing today is all about what Dr. Heather Tucker really means when she talks about life harmony. So let's start with that question, Dr. Heather. Tell me more about what do you mean when you say life harmony?
Oh, this is a great question, Tammy. So life harmony really has to do with paying attention and being at peace on all sides of life: health, relationships, family, career, business, financial. All of these different areas can pull on us at different times. Like, have you ever been so overwhelmed that all of your areas of life were on red alert and you just got frozen and couldn't move forward and felt defeated and stuck and just wanted to give up and say, you know what, I'm done, right?
I have felt like that. That's why I'm excited to talk to you about this topic, because I think now, and again, we're recording this in 2020, more people have experienced exactly what you just described this year, even if they hadn't experienced it before.
Exactly. Because the reality is the only constant is change. And a lot of times it's difficult for us to be able to pivot when something happens. Things can happen unexpectedly, like a loved one could get sick, or a loved one could potentially pass away, or things can happen expectedly. This whole pandemic and everything that we have experienced has caused people to be overwhelmed, to be stressed out, to be having to try to figure out how to manage so many different things. And the whole part about emotion or life harmony is that we can't control how other people are or the things that are happening around us. We can control how we respond to it. So it's about having peace even in the midst of the chaos. And not just peace, though. I've talked a lot about peace and being the calm in the midst of the storm, but it's also about power, right? Tapping into our unlimited supply of power as we're operating or navigating through life's situations.
So navigating, it's so funny because, again, you said that question about have you ever felt stuck? And sometimes you have to kind of look and go, well, which direction do I go? How do I do this? I wanted to ask you about emotional intelligence and life coaching. And I know sometimes life coaching, and I'm doing quote marks with my hands, people kind of chuckle at that. But it is really serious business. And this emotional intelligence is like almost like a vital survival skill. Can you tell me more about life coaching and emotional intelligence and
Absolutely.
the connection?
Yes, absolutely. So the core of life harmony is that emotional intelligence piece. A lot of times we may have been taught to not express our emotions or stuff our emotions down. And the more that we suppress our emotions, the more that they can sometimes pop up out of nowhere, whether it's an overreaction or whether it's a situation, a conflict that you're trying to resolve. And so when it comes to emotional intelligence, that being the core of not allowing other people, the external conditions to impact or external environment situations to impact our internal condition. Why is this so important? Because of our own health, right? Stress is very contagious. So if you've ever been around someone who's stressed, all of a sudden everyone else becomes stressed. And it can come out like a wave sometimes. Not only are we stressed out and overwhelmed during this time, we now have a higher suicide rate, higher divorce rate, higher death rate, and and then the higher division rate. This country right now is so divided. But what can be the solution? In our communication mastery training, which we talk about strengthening the communication with yourself and other people, right? And not only that, it allows you to strengthen your relationship with God, however you see that. And when we're talking about this, there's one principle is about respecting other people's model of the world, even if we don't agree with it, right? And how to be able to come together united, which we're called to be united, as compared to so divided. So with life coaching is actually, first let me just share with you, one of the reasons why I started on this journey was because I had reached the epitome, the perfect dream job, 6-figure position, nothing but going up the ladder. But while there was success externally, there was misery internally, right? So whereas people can see like everything is okay, what do you do when things are not okay? And you're trying to figure out this tug of war inside. So when there's conflict inside, there's also going to be conflicts externally. That's a little bit of a deeper level teaching. And it's about resolving the conflict internally, recognizing where it comes from. The things that are minor when we're a child, right? So a lot of us have had childhood traumas, right? Something that is minor when we're a child can become a big problem when we're an adult.
I know that because some of the things that I remember from my childhood that I've carried with me, for example, issues with a mother who was sick and dying and not knowing how to cope with that when you're 9 years old. And then, of course, growing up, and then the mother does die, after all those years of thinking she's going to die. And somehow that little 9-year-old perception didn't mature, with the years. And so that was a very difficult situation. When you talked about your epiphany, I guess, did this happen over a long period of time, or was it one day it's kind of like, okay, here I am. I've got my dream job. I have my 6-figure income, but I'm miserable. Did that happen quickly, or did it take time? And my big question is, how did you extricate yourself out of that 6-figure dream job to become who you are today?
So, what's interesting is I posted recently, in order to become who you're called to be, you have to let go of everything that you think that you are, right? So during that time, there's three representations of us: who we are, who we think we are, and who other people think we are. And they were all conflicting. It was not that just one person. And it was so many external things going on: horrible intimate relationships, family difficulties going on, and me being far away. Not only that, I saw so much suffering. So the camel, what did they say? The camel that's something about the thing that broke the camel's back or whatever, the thing that caused me to be like, this is no longer, I can't sit around longer and watch this happen, was when Trayvon Martin's situation happened about 20 minutes away from where I was, and going through and seeing all of that turmoil. And it was so many situations. And I'm thinking, he is as old as my nephew. Like, that's when I knew that I could no longer sit in this cushy position and not do anything to be part of the solution. When this thing happened, like and of course, all the incidences that happened after that, it used to take me away emotionally. We see so many women, especially women of color, who are crying because it could be a concern for their kids. I have a son and a daughter, and I'm totally concerned about their legacy and their what they're going to experience in the world. I want to make sure that that's the most positive as possible. And whereas it used to take me down emotionally, now I see these things happen and I'm recognizing I'm being part of the solution. So we can't control the things that happen. Like I said before, we can control how we respond to them. And in this, it was at that time where I was like, you know what? I've learned and grown enough as where I am. What is the purpose of all the success in the world if we don't really have anyone to truly share it with?
I'm listening to you, and it is so interesting because, again, I'm a mom too, and you're a mom, and I can't even imagine the conversations that I don't even have to worry about having, or I didn't have to have with my sons about different things that you have to actually plan on talking to your children about, that I wouldn't even know about, that I would have to worry about, how to act if a police officer approaches you and, asks you what you're doing, and you're just walking down the street, something as simple as that. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So I wanted to ask you, with your coaching programs, you deal a lot with the perception or leadership. And I wanted to ask you about leadership, especially in today's environment, and how important leadership skills are as a coach, because I think if you are a life coach or a coach, that a lot of that you're working with someone is to help them develop their leadership skills so that they can, like you said, communicate appropriately, and also to help people, I would think, to move up and to do good, with those leadership skills. Do you have any advice or tips about what leadership means today, 2020, moving forward?
Thank you so much for that question. So we have a big difficulty when it comes to leadership. And this is oftentimes by just being in society. Like, true leadership creates other leaders. They don't necessarily create followers, right? And the power of leadership has everything to do with who we are. Meaning that for example, our businesses are an extension of us. So when there's something that is not authentic, not of integrity, perhaps maybe of the ego more than humility and unconditional love and just the passion for what we do. When some of those things are absent, then there's a jagged difficulty in leadership. And what I talk about in especially the communication mastery program, that no one can ever BS you again. You're able to see through the person totally in terms of how does their words align with what they say, how they say it, and how their posture is when they say it to make sure this is a person of integrity. Talking about one of the reasons why we left Florida was because of the racist issue. Like, I was concerned for my husband just going to the store because if he was approached, he has PTSD. There's a lot of triggers there. And when there was a situation when a cop came up to me and was totally disrespectful, I was sitting parked in front of the library. And no hello or anything. What are you doing here? You've been here for a hot minute. Can I search your vehicle? Not even a hello. Can I see your license or anything? And basically the anger that he was trying to give to me during that time was the goal is to make me angry. So therefore I would act out of character in order to give him a reason. So because of communication mastery, that training, the ability to be able to see how people are and for what they really are and still stand in your character and respect their model of the world. You don't have to agree with it, but still be able to have that peace there. That's powerful. And that's exactly what's needed in this world. Leadership is falling short a lot of times because you have these people that there's different versions of them depending on what situation that they're in. And we're called to be single-minded, not double-minded. And the more authenticity and integrity that there is within a person in leadership, see, that situation that I just described, is that really the police officer's fault? Maybe. Or is it the leadership that condones that? So everything trickles down when it comes to leadership. This is why it is very important for coaches to be authentic, courageous, expressive, unapologetically who and they are, right? Because everything is a reflection of them. I know that I've certified maybe 400 coaches to date. And I know that my students can only go as far as I can. So the desire is to continue to elevate, communicate, and collaborate. So therefore we can be not just the one, but really be the warrior and be the connection to be able to bridge the gap and hold the space for the people who can't even hold it themselves. Now, had I not had that training and had the older version of Heather come out, who knows how that situation would have went. But we don't have to have a great past to have a great future. And it's up to us to stand in our power, unleash our greatness, and be the lioness for all the world to see unapologetically.
War. Be the lioness. It's funny because, hearing that scenario, there you were in front of a library, who knows, you probably, I know that there've been times when I've sat in a parking lot waiting because maybe I was going to go pick somebody up or something. And I just wanted to, sit there in the AC and sit. And who would even think that anybody would bother you for being in a parked car and minding your own business? It doesn't even seem like there would be a reason to ask you any questions. But
well, I even felt, what's funny is that I felt safe because I saw that he had pulled a car over. I was like, oh, okay, I can sit here, police are safety, but yet try to instill fear.
Isn't that interesting? Our whole perception of what a police officer, that's what I was taught, was, oh man, if you ever get in trouble, you find a police officer. They'll help you to protect and to serve. And then now it doesn't seem to be that way. But again, these are all issues that I think are important, because as somebody who works with coaches, these are real life situations. And all of us, especially now, we all, it seems like, for example, political issues are I don't even know, lightning rods to create division among people. And people, there used to be topics, my mother said, don't talk about religion, politics, and don't air your dirty laundry in public, meaning don't talk about your family problems in public. Well, with social media, all of these issues are literally out in front of us every day. And our only recourse, of course, is if somebody, is speaking out of turn or something, or, you can always, snooze them or block them or eliminate them from your news feed, because we're not dealing with them in a face-to-face environment. But I wanted to ask you about your different courses. You were talking about you're not only a coach and you certify people, but you're also a speaker. So tell me a little bit more about the topics that you speak about when you speak.
I love it. The biggest signature talk that we have is Peace Under Pressure, where I share several secrets to creating ultimate biz life harmony, work life harmony. Because what happens is, just like some of the situations that I mentioned, they can carry over into life situations, carry over into work situations. Work situations can carry over into life situations. How to be able to be present and not let them conflict, but also have harmony with how it's operating is so crucial. In terms of, I just lost my train of thought. Remind me of the question one more time.
What are some of your speaking topics?
Oh, yeah. So the Peace Under Pressure is really good. That I'll share with you one acronym. I share an acronym for peace and an acronym for pressure during that talk. And one of the S's stands for stabilize your power, stabilize your space, right? And how the two things that impact us the most are our energy and our environment. And, I know what it's like to be under great pressure. I'm a caregiver for my family, Purple Heart Marine Corps veteran. We just had Veterans Day yesterday. Not only are the veterans serving, but the families who are caring for the veterans are still serving. So being in that environment, also being a mom of two kids, pressure, having family situations, pressure. Well, how is a diamond created? Under great pressure. It's transformed. It's changed. It's becomes the most beautiful, sought after jewel in the world. And our tests that we go through, they really are a testimony. So in that season, it's all about, in that talk, inspiring and supporting people and knowing that you're right on track. It's about more trusting and less thinking. The other talk that I usually present is about culture and culture by design. So going back into that, how we are called to be united, but yet there is so division. And in that talk, I talk about when two worlds collide, create a new one. Oftentimes, one of the biggest conflicts is, oh, well, they don't believe what we believe, or they don't think what we think, or we think it should be this way, and they think it should be this way, right? Similar to what's going on in the world. But it's up to us to be able to respect the differences and also create the blend of a better world that maybe pulls from the best of both worlds. This is agreement.
I was just going to say that's something that is so difficult, I think, in these times, the division and how people don't seem to want to have that, going back to your communication mastery, people don't seem to want to come to any compromises. They just want it to be, okay, I want you to see it my way, or there is no way other than my way. And I don't know, it used to seem like everybody was like, let's do a win-win. And then it's like, no, I want it to be win or lose. And it's kind of makes me wonder about that. So you do the public speaking, and I like that stability. You said it was stability.
Stabilize your power and stabilize your space.
Because when you think about that, in my mind, I see this like teeter-totter, and it's not quite stable, but yet if you can balance it, if you do things.
So the difference between the word, so balance means that it's supposed to be forced, like one word. It's interesting that you mentioned it's like your way or no way, or like a lot of times, should I stay or should I go? Like a lot of times we think it's just these two options, but what the power of coaching is to be able to see that there's many more options beyond just those two, right? And so you had also mentioned it's where does that come from? So where does that come from? It comes from here. It comes from the ego or prideful part of ourselves. So I used to be very, I knew everything. and it was only my way, right? I used to be very like that, right? But then when I realized and I started looking at other people's situations and other people's problems, I realized, my problems, like, what am I complaining about? Right? The things that we think are these big deals compared to other things may be very small in size. So then it shifts, or the best way to be able to resolve this is for people to be able to have clarity and a peace of mind. So therefore, even if someone, and I know I mentioned this before, but you're able to see seek to understand the other person and then be understood. Like we only see based on the things that we know. And another person may have saw and experienced totally different things, but we don't consider that when we're looking or we're in that place of, this is my way and that's it. There's always so many different perspectives, not just what we know. Just like if somebody does something, or like they're supposed to call us back and they didn't call us back, right? And then we feel some kind of way. Like, oh my gosh, they didn't call me back. What in the world is wrong with them? Like they must not like me. Like all of these different things go on right here. But it could have just been that the person got busy and forgot. Right? So if seek to understand and then be understood. But a lot of times people don't want to take the time to understand. It's about that communication. How much do we really listen?
You're right. And a lot of the time, this drama scenario that we have in our mind, that's why emails and text messages are such a poor form of communication, because there isn't any context. There's no body language. There's no tone. There's no facial expression, words. And you can say the most simple thing like, thank you, and somebody can take it totally as not being thankful, and like you're, just because it's a short response, they think it may be something else. So I think that in this time, people are getting to know you just by listening to you. And I wanted to ask you to tell me more about your programs and courses, because I know that you have quite a few coming up in the next few months and next year, because you're somebody I admire. You plan ahead.
Oh, it's so interesting that you mentioned that. See, I plan ahead, and my husband is totally spontaneous, right? Two totally different worlds trying to figure it out, right? So I've learned to plan and have a be firm, fair, and flexible, because we can plan, but sometimes the best laid plans often fall through. How can we be able to let go of the control and the perfectionism and really step in? So we have two main tracks of our programs. For one of the things that you may want to get into is our taste and see programs, which are our challenges. We run 7-day or 5-day challenges. One is Peace Under Pressure for women. Another one is Love, Live, Lead Challenge. And so that supports the track of life harmony coaching. So we have 2 certifications that we offer. One is to become a life coach, certified life coach, specifically a life harmony coach. And you also get a certification as a holistic emotional intelligence expert. This is all about not just only learning emotional intelligence, learning about relationships, learning about all 8 different areas of health that we had talked about, how they combine. And also for example, the 2 legs of this cool model that we cover are spiritual health and financial health, and how they can be really the foundation from which everything flows if we allow it to. So launch, scale, or start a business with that program. The other certification you can also launch, scale, and expand your business is communication mastery. And this is about reclaiming and empowering your mind with the power of NLP, also known as neuro-linguistic programming. And what that is about, all techniques lead to wholeness. So imagine not necessarily being conflicted in your mind, but having total peace of mind, body, and soul. So therefore you can more easily be everything that you've been called to be, do everything that you've been called to do, and have everything that you've been called to have in your life with ease and working smarter, not harder. So that's what that's all about.
It's interesting because, full disclosure, I did take your life coaching and emotional intelligence certification course. And the other day, somebody asked the question, they said, what do you think has happened to you during this pandemic? And I actually took your course, I think it was in May or something. And my answer, and I didn't know this until just now, but I said, I think that my BS detector improved. And I really do think that is a direct result of doing that course with you, because we did do a lot of work related to the emotional intelligence. And like you said, being able to detect that authenticity coming from different people by, their words and their actions and different things. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, because it also is related to your intuition, where you have to learn how to trust that intuition. And sometimes the world makes it difficult because they keep telling, you go, well, I can see it. I can hear it. I know the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, a lie and a truth, but yet you're told, no, you're wrong. Your intuition is wrong. You're hearing it wrong. That isn't what they said. And then you listen to it. So yeah, that's exactly what they said. So it's interesting that that's one of the values I received was that the trust in my intuition, my BS detector improved because now I don't even doubt my perception anymore. I just go, okay, double check. Yes, you read it right. You're not misinterpreting. And I now know that I can trust my intuition or my instincts about people I meet and things I hear and my perception of the world around me is a lot more accurate, and I can trust it. I don't have to feel in doubt of that gut instinct anymore. So there you go, a little testimonial.
Wow, that was an awesome testimonial, and thank you so much because you know what? It's validation, it's confirmation. Whereas, society and the world will tell us to go one way, right? Like everybody thought you left a permanent 6-figure government position to go and do something and possibly experience no money and all the struggles of entrepreneurship for what, right? For this moment. Because you know what? It's not about making $1 million. It's about changing 1 million lives and guiding that process. It's about allowing those lives who are changed to expand another million and another billion. Because you know what? We are the master of our fate and the captain of our ship if we allow ourselves to.
Well, and you just said it right there. If we allow ourselves to, because so many of us, we stop our own success because, somebody might say something or make us doubt who we are. And like I said, I really do believe that your Life Harmony coaching certification program and training, it helps you to put together, all your puzzle pieces. And again, you learn about how to trust that intuition. And it does also, I call it the connection with the God of your understanding, because, my understanding might not be your understanding, but we all are connected to a higher power. And I think that, your program does really pull together, like you said, those 8 different health areas. You said individual, emotional, intellectual, mental, physical, social, financial, and spiritual. And, think about it, that's a lot of pieces that you have to put together.
I can break it down to just 4.
Oh, okay.
So total health is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. It all trickles down, right? So the mental and emotional is where a lot of times we get in our own way. I got in my own way all the time. And once I got out of my own way, I became unstoppable. And that's what I teach people, to become unstoppable and also in a place of ease, not like enjoy being the turtle and, and enjoying that journey. Like, okay, we'll get there. And then the turtle wins the race. But a lot of times we get in our own way, and it's time to change that.
I agree. And I'm really glad that we're talking, because I think I needed this, this reflection of, because again, it's not just me, it's all of us. we're out there, we're doing the best we can. We're trying to become the best us, you or me that we can become. And it is not a straight, easy path to success, whatever success means to you. There's all of these definitions of different things that, sometimes you have to stop and say, well, my definition of success might not be your definition of success. For some people, it might be, oh, I made my $1 million. Somebody else, it might be, oh, I helped one person to lift themselves up. That could be a huge success, to look at one person and go, wow. And, I encourage them to go beyond, whatever that might be. That, I think for a coach or a mentor, again, the terms coaching, mentoring, it's all semantics about, what does that really mean? I wanted to ask you about your books, because you are an author and a publisher author. That's what I would call you, I think, because you've also created book projects, besides being besides being an author. So can you tell me more about your book projects?
Sure. Well, I will say, I want to celebrate that the first book that I ever wrote was my dissertation, and it was on teachers' technology acceptance and usage behavior of the interactive job-related technologies that they had available to them. Now, I was totally freaked out when I did this book, but then I wrote an article I used that research and wrote an article in the Journal of Research on Technology and Education. And that journal article has been cited over, I guess, 10 years now in about 500 other peer-reviewed journal articles. And that rate is climbing, and I'm really excited about that. So that was my first baby.
Well, that's really phenomenal when your work is cited by other people, because that means that they went and they read your work and they found that it was credible.
Yeah.
Writing it.
Yeah. Well, then also I've had a couple other doctoral students who've taken that research and expanded it. I was on their committee, and every couple of years I get an email asking for my dissertation survey. So therefore people can continue. So it's a beautiful thing to be an author and to leave a legacy like that. So that was in the academic arena. And in this current industry, I've actually written 2 books, one on called Destiny Walkers. And I was a contributing author to that book, talking about how to be able to walk in your purpose. And my most prized possession is the book collaboration and book series that I started called The Voice of Hope. And it's inspirational, untold stories for caregivers by caregivers. And I knew actually one of the amazing authors in there, Nadine Owen, she had pushed me to do that because we were both going through the struggle of caring for our loved ones and trying to build a business. So that book has 12 authors. 4 of them are caring for their spouses, like me. And then 4 of them are caring for their elderly parents. And 4 of them are caring for their children with special needs, like Nadine. And we just had a Caregiving with Ease virtual summit as a result of this book. And the message that had came through was so powerful and so transformational. Like, it was really scary to share this story. So my caregiving journey talked about caring for my husband with PTSD. This is where there's a lot of fight or flight. We have a 5% success rate fighting against the odds with that. Business is also another 5% success rate. So what do you do when you're fighting against the odds? And how can we see our burdens as actually blessings for our transformation? This book totally changed so many people's lives and perceptions of their caregiving journey. Because the things that we think that are called to break us and defeat us and make us feel depleted are actually the things that actually God is going to use and transform to save our lives, and also be a testament to other people who may be at the beginning of the journey that you overcame.
That's really phenomenal. So are you working on any new book projects?
Yes, so the Voice of Hope is going to get ready to be the second volume's coming out for that one. We're doing a call for that. And then also the other book that we are going to be having a series on, it talks about being the warrior, be the warrior, so and connection. Because everybody right now desires acceptance and connection. And especially for coaches or entrepreneurs who are going towards their dreams, there are so many obstacles and hills and valleys that they have to be able to climb and walk through. And in this book, it's going to be able to have some stories to let people know, hey, I've been there too. And then how to be able to elevate and rise out of rise like the phoenix out of the ashes. Out of the ashes we rise, right? And we transform. And so you'll be hearing from some awesome people who know how to do that and can share their stories, and also the blessings that come after the process is complete.
And you'll also be part of Expert Profiles, conversations with influencers and innovators, coming out at the end of 2020. So I just want to remind you that that's actually what this interview is all about. But isn't it amazing how, when you think about all of the lives that you're touching through your classes and your courses, and then through your books, and the legacy that you're leaving, not only for yourself, but you're helping these other people share their stories. And every time somebody is able to share their story, it is, again, that it's a gift, because every time you publish one of these books and that information can go out into the world, you never know who's going to pick up that book and read it or listen to one of these interviews. And again, if you could touch one person's life, and then that actually has that ripple effect out, because if it improves one person's life, then if their life is improved, it improves the life of all the people around them. And it just keeps on going out and becomes this ripple of good that can happen in the world. So that's really exciting. So you've got your Life Harmony Coaching Certification, the Communication Mastery, you have the books coming out.
Oh, and then the last thing is our Aloha Mastermind. So we're having an Aloha Mastermind. It is an ohana, also as a Hawaiian word for family, for coaches. So not only is it where, we're teaching coaches, we're also creating that support, that community for them to continue to evolve, arise, connect, step into their warrior, right? So therefore they can be the stronger connection and through their power. So we're pretty excited about that. That's our biggest thing that encompasses all that we talked about.
Oh, that is exciting. It just triggered in my mind. The first time I ever interviewed you, you were in Hawaii. And we did our interview, again, I'm in Florida and you were in Hawaii. So that time difference was quite substantial. But I just remember that you were actually in Hawaii. So I wanted to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you. So what is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
The best way for people to get in contact with us is to, first of all, go to our website, www.anotherlevelliving.com. Once again, that's www.anotherlevelliving.com, and get connected with us on social media. And you can be able to fill out a contact form. It has our email and our phone numbers right there for you. Schedule a call, check out some of the free offers that we have on there, and we look forward to getting to know you more.
Super. So you have some free gifts that they can go, and all they have to do is go to your website, anotherlevelliving.com. Is that correct? Yay! Yeah. So, wow, we really covered a lot today. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, I just want to say, for whoever's listening to this recording or reading the profile in the book, that no matter who you think that you are, right, or anything that you become or that you've gone through, like, you're so much more than that. And there is a mound of people that are waiting for you to be able to show up and step in to everything that you called to be. If you hear this message and you're like, I'm ready to make a difference. I'm ready to be able to be the one and inspire other people. Even if there might be a part of you that is scared, thinking, oh, well, I don't have my life together, so, I can't do that yet. Well, if you have that calling, if you have that desire to be of service, regardless of whether your life is together or not, make sure you connect with us, because we only have to be just one step ahead of the people that we support and have a desire to grow. Those are the only two things that are required to be an amazing coach. And the journey just gets better. It never is one of those journeys that, yes, you'll have those hills and valleys, but the cool thing is you'll have us right there to be able to support you on the way. And eventually all you see is just blue skies and aloha. And I'm looking forward to getting everybody there like I've been.
Wow. Aloha. I like that. Yes. And like you said, all you have to be is just one step ahead. And that's hard for a lot of people to realize, is that your unique life experience qualifies you to help other people, because you have the different perspectives to be able to, help other people see the world from a different point of view. And sometimes, we just have to take that first step, just like what you said. If you want more information from Heather, go to her website, get the information. You can check out her courses. She's got a lot of free gifts. You can listen to this interview. And I believe I have 2 other interviews with you, where we took some deep dives into different topics. And then, of course, read this profile in Expert Profiles, Conversations with Influencers and Innovators, because it's always very exciting when you're able to listen and then also read it in a book. So thank you so much, Heather. I really enjoyed this conversation, as I always enjoy every conversation I have with you.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much as well. Appreciate it.
Okay. Everyone, this is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.